Hello, fellow alternative investors, YouTubers, and video watchers. This is Mark with the Financial Survival Center, and I'm going to apologize ahead of time for the lousy audio. But today we are going to talk about gold and silver, which are coming back into popularity because of the situation with debt and the new Federal Reserve chairperson coming up. And I will be covering a couple of really interesting topics today, including worldwide effects of this. And one of the most important things is how I selected a portfolio of stocks in the mining sector, one of the riskiest sectors that did extremely well early on in the bull market, and basically created a, as I call it, the fortress effect, which is where the Financial Survival Center gets its theme. It's essentially developing a survival center of profitable investments, along with protecting your currency from depreciation, inflation, and also alternative investments such as land, all kinds of different things. Really, virtually anything can be an alternative investment. We explored those and taken big advantage of those, and I was one of the early ones who recommended ammunition, which made a fortune for most people. Now, I'm going to talk about a couple of stocks today, right now. One is Endeavor Mining Company that I invested in. And again, I'm no mining expert, I'm no stock wizard, but I did it based on reading some of the popular sites, some of the popular articles, finding companies that met a couple of different criteria. And this is when I really knew very, very little about mining, but enough to get me by. And then Exelon Resources is another one. Now, both of these stocks went on to make basically fortunes, 10x and more. Some of the other stocks I thought didn't go up quite as high, but overall, 10 stocks probably went in the neighborhood of 300 to 500% on average. Some of them were far higher. Now, here's why. As you can see, this is a discussion about Janet Yellen. She is constantly in a debate with a anti-inflation guy, and he talks about how she was polite to me as we always debated, the effects of inflation. Now, what this says is that, yes, she may be polite, but the key thing is that she is constantly pushing for inflationary policies, and that's what she will continue to do, even though right now they're trying to paint her in the news, the media, financial press, that she is not an inflation promoter. She definitely is. Now, there's another quote that's coming up here which basically says, well, she just wants to target a certain level of inflation that's, of course, based on the Fed's faulty inflation data. And this is the overall singular driving force throughout almost all economic decisions going forward. The fact that she is bent towards inflation, she doesn't even recognize the effect that the Fed has had. She doesn't even admit that there has been inflation. She made a speech. These quotes come from the speech around 2009, where she essentially says, we don't really have enough inflation. We need more of it. Now, does anybody in the real world agree with that? I don't think so. So not only is inflationary basically a U.S. problem, but it's a worldwide problem, and that's one of the key drivers going forward for the stocks overall, and the metals, because the metals are increasingly being appreciated in India, in China, and in Europe, where even in Europe they have vending machines for gold and silver, and lines like you wouldn't believe. I've shown in some of my other videos around the world. So this is a global phenomenon, and basically the same story, and I don't want to bore anybody with the details. This is a debt bubble around the world. Just continually increases, and there's really no end in sight, although the U.S. is admittedly reducing its debt somewhat because of some of the small changes they've made. But with the war drums beating and all of the programs going forward, and Obamacare and the crushing effect of that, I see it becoming a very difficult thing. So let's get right down to it. My mining criteria, and of course I'm going to have to do this from memory because I can barely even read what I see on the screen. But basically, you've got to have stellar management. That's number one. Number two, they have to have basic funding in place to get through their program. Number three, the company must have the right metals selected in the right territories, near the right properties, and that's all geological stuff and also political issues. Now, I'm no expert geologist, and most expert geologists don't even get it right. So that third one, which is the most difficult one, you basically settle on a few countries, Australia being one of them. The U.S. actually is pretty good, and Canada. Mexico's okay. The other South American countries are much riskier, and you focus on those. Now, the management, we're going to talk about that shortly. The other thing is, we'll discuss the funding aspects and how that works, but that's part of the management. It's also part of the market overall. The last criteria, and this is a very important one, and ones a lot of people don't quite grasp, is that you have to have a management that recognizes both the financial sophistication required and the fact that they have got to advertise themselves. Now, this company we're going to talk about here shortly has all of that covered in spades. In fact, I'm part of the advertising. I'm very open about that. I am sponsored to write blog posts, but I'll tell you what, I wouldn't touch any company that I don't personally believe in, that I wouldn't personally invest in. That's the way I've been the entire time. I was doing the exact same thing with gold and silver. I was shouting to the rooftops about everybody to buy it, and I was buying it, and I was making money with it, and wanted other people to make money. Now, getting on to the company, it's called Wishbone Gold, or Wishy, W-I-S-H-Y, on the over-the-counter market. Here's the key thing. The director and the management, which we're going to discuss, they own a chunk of the company. They are tied totally to the company. They're betting on the company. They're funding the company. That's key. As far as their exploration licenses, I don't want to go into too much detail here, but basically, my microphone is dying here. But long and short of it, the Wishbone exploration license is pretty strong, and they've got a huge package, about 34,000 hectares, which, in American terms, something like, what's that, 60, 75, 80,000 acres. Here's the key thing. They're right close to major mines. That's what I'm showing you here. Those lines are showing where those are lines along other same mineral deposits, and that's the key thing. Here's just a list of a variety of mines that are right in their area, right in the particular land package in some cases, that have been producing mines. So this is not pie in the sky stuff. This is in the right area, in the right zone. They have the funding, and they have the closiology, as they call it. They're on the same veins as these major deposits. You don't really need to look at all these particular mines. Some of them are not that impressive. Some of them are. But the key thing is they have loads and loads of different mines that are actually producing mines over a long period of time. Now, I'm getting to some of the key aspects. One particular area, and they've been adding and adding to their land package, has really high levels of concentration with very shallow access to it. One of them is like 255 grams per ton or something ridiculous, and it's pretty amazing. Now, here's the key thing. The management is the same management that brought us Sirius Metals, which made serious money, Sirius Minerals, excuse me. It rose in valuation from 1 to 100. It is an official operating polyhalite, which is essentially, you can think of as potash, mining company. This guy is a legitimate miner explorer. Now, he doesn't have to be a miner. He's actually a financial and legal person, but he has really delivered. And his name is Richard Polden. I don't know him personally at all, but he's got a phenomenal record, and he has stuck through a tremendously difficult period where a lot of other companies have folded. He has managed to continue to raise money because he's got a merchant banking background. And he really has shown the stuff that makes for a great mining company. So I'm 100% behind it. That's why I'm bringing it to my readers, and I'm also promoting it with videos. And I will be buying into it myself. That's why I'm telling anybody and everybody to buy into it. And I work with the promotion company, which is UltraPoint.net. I recommend anybody to contact them directly, ultrapoint.net. I will put the link at the end here. Of course, you can also go to my website, Financial Survival Center. But again, the major shareholders there are the management, which is great. And this is the basic information. Financial Survival Center, Wishy is the stock, and ultrapoint.net. Thank you very much.